Good morning, Coasties, and welcome to Rhema CC. I'm Lindy, I'm your Sunday morning host here. We were just listening to Holy Spirit Come by Patrick Mayberry. I hope you're having a beautiful one, guys. We are so close to Christmas, like crazy close. In fact, next week, when we catch up again next Sunday, it will have been well and truly over, and we'll be looking at a new year on the horizon. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. I know, I say it pretty much every week of the last few weeks, really. But yeah, it's crazy how fast this year has literally just flown by. It's just insane. I say that, but also look back. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you do this, but I look back and think, what happened to that year? And hang on, these are all the things that happened to me, and that just feels like it's forever ago. But yet it also feels like in one, it's just, I've kind of clicked my fingers and we're in a year. It's a bit of a weird space to be in. Does that sound familiar to you guys? I don't know if it kind of rings a bell. Like, it's like, yeah, I get that. It's like it's been all and nothing all in one. It's just been a very strange year. But having said that, we've only got a few more days until we get to celebrate the most magical, most fantastical, most awesome time of the year. I know I have a million kids, as you guys know. Not quite a million, but we've got quite a few. And it's been a pretty special time of the year for us as a family for a long time now. So, it can be quite a contrast of a lot of different emotions, a lot of things happening at this time of year. I am not necessarily I don't love pulling out the Christmas tree and thinking, yes, let's decorate. I'm not someone who can get into that really quickly and instantly. It takes me a while. I kind of pull the box out and get things set up gradually. My husband, on the other hand, is quite happy to just get straight into the Christmas spirit. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'll just ease into it. But once it arrives, obviously, Christmas Day, it's always a really good and special day. But obviously the main point of it is that we get to have the celebrations, yes, but the story behind Christmas, well, that's a big deal. And that is the reason that we are spending time today talking about love, because ultimately the Christmas story is about love. I wasn't going to cover love this week. I was actually going to move to just covering specifically along the lines of the Christmas story and looking at aspects of the birth of Jesus. So we're going to cover that a little bit, but more than that is just the understanding, and this kind of flows on from the weeks we've just covered. So we've covered peace, hope, and love in the last few weeks. Peace, hope, and joy. And today we are actually covering love. And they're kind of a beautiful fit, really, aren't they? It's kind of one of those things. I think it was a last minute thing. I just sort of decided, actually, no, love is a good place for us to start, or kind of tie things off before Christmas, I should say, because really it's the whole foundation of why we were given the baby Jesus. And God's a God of love. In fact, in John 3:16, you guys, if you are a Christian, you will probably know this. If you are not, and you are new to Christianity, this verse that I'm about to quote to you now, it comes from the Bible, and it pretty much sums up the whole story of Jesus. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Let me summarize that for you guys. If you are someone who kind of goes, what does that actually mean? For God so loved the world. He's saying right there, he loved you enough in that, and that's that time, in that era, but also for the generations to come. He loved the whole world enough that he gave us his beautiful baby, this beautiful baby who was actually his son. And the promise that we have is that if we believe in Jesus and we believe the fact that he was brought to the earth to save us, that he went, he grew up into a man, and as a man his life was placed on a cross, and he was a man who didn't deserve to be there. He hadn't done anything wrong. He was clean, he was pure, he was completely holy, and yet there was this plan in place to replace a lot of the traditions that had gone before him. I'll get into that later, but this beautiful man died on the cross, and he conquered death, absolutely kicked its butt. 3 days later, he rose, and He proved that nothing could hold him down because he is in fact God. He was the Son of God. And that one verse, for God so loved the world. He loved you and me, us, even those generations ago, like all those thousands of years ago. He was thinking ahead, going, I've got to get this sorted now so that these guys to come have an opportunity to have a relationship with me. Now let's put that into context. So I have always kind of been the one that asks the big questions. I'm probably the painful kid in my family. If as a child, I was probably the one that always had the deeper questions, and I needed answers. My dad will quite openly say to you, I've probably always been the one that asks why. But why? Okay, so tell me why. Why did that happen? And why do I do that? I do that because I want to know, I want the context behind it. I want to understand. So Jesus, if we're looking at the story of Christmas and we're looking at this particular Bible verse, John 3:16, we look at him as a baby. He grew into a man, as I said, and he died on the cross. He was persecuted to a point of death. He was tortured. He was put through just utter evil. It really was. The way that he was tortured and just brutally murdered, purely because he had said, I am coming out and letting you know that I am the Son of God. There's no lie to this. This is how it is. And he was hated for that. He was hated for the things that he was able to do, the miracles that he performed, the ways that he could do things that did not make sense to the rest of the world. But he died. He died with willingness to understand that his death was the pivotal moment to replace how things had been done in history. So what do I mean by that? If you are new to Christianity, just a simple way of explaining how that kind of fits. So, okay, generally, if there was a need for cleansing between those who walked the earth before us, before Jesus had arrived, there was a ritual or a calling where people had to find their best sheep, their best cattle, the very best of what they had. Whether, obviously they've got different sort of ways that they would be working or living, and the best of the best was to be sacrificed. So this is how they, before Jesus, were able to have that cleansing before God. They would come and lay their best of their best before God, and they would sacrifice that sheep or that cow or whatever it was. It was the best of the best. And so the symbolic sort of stuff in the life of Jesus in that is that he was the best of the best. He still is the best of the best. And so when we look at Christmas, we have to look at also Easter. We have to look at the whole context of his life. We have to look at why he came. He came to break those rituals, to say it's done. You don't have to keep doing this anymore. I'm going ahead. I'm doing this. I am the best of the best. I'm perfect. I haven't messed up. I haven't done things the way that you guys do it. I do things differently. I've done them differently. I've walked the planet in a different way. And I haven't been understood in that. And there's some stuff in that, as I say those words, there's some stuff that hits me at the moment as I'm saying them, because I don't know about you guys, but there can be times in your life where you just feel like you're just not understood. And that must have been kind of where Jesus was at. He must not have been understood by the people of that time. And yet, the whole purpose, the whole plan was perfect. So God is a good God. He's a God of planning. He's a God of perfection. And he brought us this beautiful gift of a baby called Jesus. And that is what Christmas is about. Christmas is about him, and it is about the ultimate love. We're going to talk love today because it's a pretty special thing to contemplate and sort of process as we get closer to that ultimate celebration of what love is and how we can revisit it over and over every Christmas year. All right, guys, I'll be back shortly. Yeah, welcome back, guys. That was Authority by Stars Go Dim. And how awesome is it that we have a God who is an absolute authority of everything that happens on this globe. Absolutely every detail. I can't believe it when I sort of sit and process it. We were talking this morning about Jesus And that is a good place for us to start, because Jesus is a pretty good area for us to kind of converse over. Jesus is the reason we are celebrating this very season, Christmas. I know that sounds a bit cliche, a little bit like, oh yeah, here we go again. I don't mean it like that, but honestly, we've got to break it down sometimes and process it, give it some context, really grasp what Christmas is about. Christmas is a time of, contemplating peace. What is it in the world? It is a time for us to understand hope. It is a time for us to celebrate, to find joy. And today we are covering the aspect of love. Because my goodness, Jesus, the gift of Jesus, he was the ultimate love. He was the ultimate love that was given to the earth to cleanse, to be a symbol of what was before he came in terms of traditions. I sort of just ran through earlier this morning, just explain to anyone who might be listening, what the whole, what was the purpose of Jesus coming as a man to do what he did. And basically it came down to the fact that there was a tradition before he came. It was a ritualistic sort of thing where to have a relationship with God, those who walked the planet, before us in that time, in that era, would have to sacrifice the best of their best. So they would own their own livestock, and they would find the best of the best, and they would have to sacrifice that before God and say, I want to start again. Let's get things right. I want to have a clean and pure relationship with you. So Jesus' existence as a man, being placed on the cross, being taken down by other men, it was an ultimate symbolism of what that was, because he became the perfect best of the best, if you like. He was the best of the best that any of us can even imagine. And his life was taken from him, and yet he honestly counteracted everything that we believe is to have a hold on us. He told Satan, I am not going to be beaten. Death will not beat me. I am God, and I'm bigger, and my power has such an authority that you cannot hold me down. And what's really cool about that, guys, is that we get to live amongst that. We get to experience that because we have the Holy Spirit. Even though Jesus has gone on, he's ascended to heaven, we have the experience of the Holy Spirit. We've got that still today. We have that same authority, and we can claim it. We can claim it on all sorts of things. But I am sort of derailing there, and I need to kind of veer back to where we're going. My whole point of rehashing that story again, or the explanation behind it, is because what kind of a love are we dealing with when a father loves their child enough? I'm processing this as I'm actually speaking, but what kind of love are we dealing with when a God, or if we look at it from a worldly perspective, a parent says, you can have the best of the best, and the best is my beloved child. And that was the purpose from the time that Jesus walked the globe. His sole purpose was to be a saviour. There is something in that for me. I'm hoping that you can process that as well, and just sort of let it soak in. This love that we're talking about, it's the real deal. God did not allow Jesus just to come and walk the globe and just be like any one of us, just meander around and just kind of fluff about and just wonder what's the purpose of life. We have covered so much about the aspect of life and how valuable it is this year on our Sunday morning discussions. And yet we look at Jesus and we see that there is a beautiful example of specific purpose right there. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son. And the other side of that is, and whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. God allowed that to happen. God loved with the most sacrificial, overwhelming, and yet unburdened love. It's this love that we don't have to take in with a sense of guilt, because there's this mixture of, processing what we have done in our life and what we actually deserve, but also saying to us, I've got it. I've dealt with it. I dealt with it. I brought my beautiful baby son into the world, and he grew into a man, and this is what he did for you. That is love. That is love. We're talking love some more this morning. I'll see you guys before too long. And that was Next to Me by Jordan Feliz. Guys, you're listening to Rhema CC. I'm Lindy. I am your Sunday morning host, and I am delightfully enjoying your company. Thank you for being a part of my morning. Thank you for being a part of my day. And seriously, thank you for being a part of my year, because it has been an absolute honour to do all the ups and downs of this year with you guys. Obviously, we've got next week as well before we kind of wind things down for 2024. But, I'm looking back while I'm sort of getting ready for the Christmas season. I'm sure you guys are sort of doing a little bit the similar. It's a weird headspace, really, isn't it? Where you're just sort of going, where have we been? What's happened? What kind of a year have I had? And how do I process it? How do I take it in and absorb it and work out what to do with it for next year? But certainly today we are talking all things love. So there's a beautiful reason for us to get up and just celebrate, because God is and has been and continues to be the ultimate love. And if you don't know him, I can assure you it is worth getting to know him, because the love that you will receive from God, is a kind of love you are never going to experience from another person. It is just unfailing, it's unwavering, and he pours it on in all the ways. I want to encourage you, if you don't know that this morning, get on your hands and knees, kind of sit beside your bed, just kneel beside your bed if you need to, in terms of just doing something from a physical perspective. Maybe go for a walk. Do whatever you need to just silence the world and just say, hey God, I'm here. I'm ready to accept you. I am ready to understand that you have given us the most perfect example of love, and that was through Jesus. I hope and pray that if you don't know that today, that you can spend some time with God in prayer, and you can accept and process just how big and how awesome his love has been for us and continues to be for us. And Jesus, as a little baby coming into the world, this is the reason we celebrate Christmas. And the way he happened, the way he unfolded, the way that he, fulfilled every prophecy that was told before he ever arrived. And we're talking hundreds of years. These things were told for a long, long time before he arrived. And yet he arrived, he lived out the purpose that God had for him, and he allowed himself to be a sacrifice so that we could break traditions. We don't have to do things from a religious perspective anymore. We don't have to just do it with a ritual sort of mindset or heart. We can just simply do what I just said. We can sit beside the bed. We can go for a walk. We can drive in the car, and we can pray, and we can just spend some time with God. Jesus was the game changer, guys. He was the game changer in us being able to have a real relationship with God. And in that, we have been able to understand what real love is. Today, we are talking about love. Christmas is a sort of a season of what we hope is going to be all the good things: peace, kindness, joy, hope, and love. And love is one of the things that we are talking about today. I'm going to give you some Bible verses. We have sort of been just really this morning sitting on John 3:16, but love is a big part of what we are encouraged to demonstrate, to integrate, and to, just embrace. I think it's one of those things as Christians, we have to be so mindful of what love is, and we have to be thinking about that in this season. So what is love? A beautiful description from 1 Corinthians 13:4-7. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. 1 Corinthians 16:14. Let all that you do be done in love. Colossians 3:14, and above all these put on love, which binds everything together, in perfect harmony. John 15:13, greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down his life for his friends. And as much as we are not focusing on that at this Christmas season, as much as we are thinking about that little baby that entered the globe and how things changed instantly, how the world suddenly knew that something was different from the situations, with the earthly situations in terms of the signs in the sky, the stars that were followed by those who came to find Jesus, to celebrate him. It was a game changer. There was something that shifted in those moments. The world suddenly knew something's up. And his life was a perfect example of the purpose that God has for every one of us. He does have purpose. It's not the same purpose as Jesus had, because my goodness, his purpose was astronomical. It's a game changer, and I'm so thankful that he lived out his purpose well. He loved big, and we have the same call placed on us, guys. So let me encourage you today, love big. Find someone who you can love in the most astronomical way. Give them a reason to look at Christmas with open eyes, with a sense of relief, and with an understanding that love comes from God. It's the ultimate love is pure. It doesn't ask for anything. It doesn't ask for anything in return. It just surpasses all the wrongdoings. It overlooks that. It's not met with a jealousy, or it's not met with an angst. A perfect love like we see when we look at the sacrifice that Jesus made comes from the most pure and holy and selfless type of focus and way to live. That's what we are urged to live and love like. So I'm going to leave that there and just give you guys some time to process it, because we've got a big call in our lives, and Christmas, guys, is a great time for us to really process it and to sort of put ourselves out there and show those in our world what love is and how to do it well. And I'm so thankful I can look at Jesus and have that example day in and day out. Anyway, I'll see you guys before too long, okay? I'll see you soon. Well, good morning, co-hosties, and welcome to Rhema CC. I am so thankful that you're here with me. Good morning, and welcome to your wake-up call. It's 3 days until Christmas, guys, so you haven't got much time to get those last-minute prezzies sorted. I don't know if we ever really know if we're actually fully ready. I don't know if we do or not. But you just kind of make it work, don't you? I was handing out some food hampers a couple of weeks ago now, and someone was asking me some questions about, the lead up to Christmas and what's going to happen, and I kind of rolled my eyes and went, well, for us, I have a husband who would like to know what's happening, and he has a wife who hasn't got a clue, so we just make it all up as we go. And that's just how we roll. I'm terrible at having things organized as in organized, and I just kind of just roll with it. I don't know how to do. It's not that I'm unorganized. I just kind of wait for God to go, right, here we go. This is what we're doing. And that is the same with Christmas. I can kind of have things how I think we want to play things out with, catching up with family, or even just down to the simple things like presents and who's getting what. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, hang on a sec, game change. We've got to play something different here. We're doing things a little bit different. So, yes, I don't know about you guys. If you're like me, you probably drive the rest of your family crazy. But you get it done, don't you? If you're like me, you do get the job done. It's just not the same as those who, they're a bit more organised, got everything kind of worked out months ahead. I'm a little bit more sporadic than that. I don't know if I will ever change. I kind of like the spontaneity of just going, hey, hang on a sec, actually we'll do it this way. And I'm sure that drives other people crazy, but that's just how we roll. I actually had a manager one time when I was, this is probably over 20 years ago now. She asked me how I'd organise things, and I was kind of like, I looked at her quite blankly and said, yeah, I don't really do that. And she said, you must do that because you've got so many kids. I'm like, that's the exact reason why I don't, because I've just learnt there's no point, because they just rewrite the rules anyway. So I just have learnt to just roll with whatever happens. Christmas is going to be one of those situations for all of us. We don't really know what's in store. Could be a crazy busy day. It could be a quieter one. It could be, hotter than we expect. It could be colder than what we expect. We can have all the plans and think we're set up and we're ready to go. But really, when it comes down to it, we don't actually know. We don't know how things are going to play out. We can just hope and pray that we have a great time with those that we love. And love is what we are talking about this morning today, guys. We've been talking over the last few weeks about sort of things along those lines as we think of the sort of the seasons or the themes of Christmas, and we've covered peace, we've covered hope, we've covered joy, and today we're actually covering love, because love is the center of why we have Christmas. Jesus was a gift. He was the ultimate gift to the world. And he lived, he breathed, he did what he did with purpose and intent. He showed us that we can claim his healing power in situations where we don't think we can. He showed us that we can perform miracles. He showed us that we can provide. He showed us that we can love like he has loved. Maybe not to the extent of what he can do, but he has given us in that 33 years, that period of time where he was walking this globe and showing us how we can love our communities, how we can love our families, how we can love and respect ourselves and our spouse, and how we can serve as best as we can. Now, we might serve in our churches, we might serve in our families. But my encouragement today is to think about the kind of love that God has shown us through his son Jesus, and be stirred to question even further, God, how do we love as big as we can? How do we love as best as we can? How do we serve in love and serve different people, different contexts, different communities, different whatever? How do we step out of our comfort zone and say, I am here, I'm yours, I'm living for your purpose because I want to love with your purpose and your hope for me. So there's some questions in that. There are some things in that. Love is big. It is patient. It is kind. I read this description to you guys earlier this morning. It is patient. It is kind. It's not envious. There are characteristics when we go back to 1 Corinthians and we just look at, what is love? Love is it's a overrider. It kind of conquers. It overrides the difficult stuff. It's hope-filled. It's driven. We've got to love well, and we've got to love well, especially at times like right now. We've got people around us who are probably quite sensitive. Maybe they're alone. Maybe they've had a really rough year. This is an opportunity for us to pour on that love that we are encouraged to demonstrate and to really delve into ourselves, to really explore. Would we lay ourselves down for our neighbours? Would we lay ourselves down? Would we put our own priorities aside for those in our world to say they need this? Whatever this may be. This might look different from person to person, but you know what I'm saying. We have a challenge placed on us this Christmas to love and to love well. So let me leave it there for a bit, guys. It's a big one because it's a challenge. It is a huge challenge. How big do we actually love and how well do we love? All right, I'll see you soon. Welcome back, Coasties. That was Home by Chris Tomlin. How's home for you? How is home today for you? I'm hoping it's lovely. I'm hoping it's kind of Christmassy. It feels warm and content. Not warm as in too hot because, that's kind of our sort of Christmas season, isn't it? It's always a bit too hot. But I am seriously hoping that you are feeling that sense of coziness, that sense of stability. Maybe this year's been a bit of a rough year in terms of your own stability. Maybe there's been a lot of ups and downs and not knowing what's coming. Maybe home has been a little bit messy. Maybe you're still struggling to find where home is. Well, I can assure you that God is a good place for you to start, and just spend some time talking to him today. Find that assurance that you need, that you can rest in him when things don't feel like they're very stable. But for those of you who are able to celebrate Christmas fully, perhaps you've had a brilliant year. Perhaps it's been a fantastic one. I just want to say I am so thankful that God has poured his blessings on you this year, and that I really do hope and pray that these blessings continue. I hope that you can feel it completely as Christmas rolls around. For those who are catching up with family, with friends, with neighbours, with church family, I hope and I pray, this is for me and also from the team here at Rhema, I do hope and pray that as Christmas Day turns up, that you are able to love and you are able to feel that love. And that love that surpasses all understanding, that the truth of it, we've got We've got hope that surpasses all understanding, but love is another thing that we just can't always fully grasp because it's such a big concept and we think we've got it. We think from a worldly perspective we've got it all nailed. We know exactly how it is. But the world hasn't done a very good job in understanding what love is. Love is actually the ultimate sacrifice. Love is putting yourself out there and saying, you know what, mate, your needs are before mine. You know what, my friend, you go before me, please. That means more to me. It means, in situations that are of crisis, it means thinking with the intent to protect, to love, to nurture, to ensure that those in our world are being protected before ourselves. It sometimes means going without. Sometimes it means going to, you might be someone who gives and gives and gives, and you are left with nothing yourself. And I see it constantly. I see people who really do love big and fully. And one of the most rewarding things I think for me is being able to notice those people who give and give and give, and being able to say, I see you. And in response, honor that and serve them and give them. It might be something that they need. It might be a need that they have that needs, to be met. It may just simply be saying, I see you and thank you for putting the needs of others before yourself, because it's noticed. But yeah, I just want to encourage you, if you've got people in your world today who you think they're just given, they just love so fully, please just go to them and just say thank you to them. Notice what they need. That whole, it's a little bit airy-fairy sort of out there sort of concept, but the world can thrive more if we are built on and functioning on love in the pure context. Love is patient, love is kind, and it endures so, so much. I want to say again, guys, thank you again for your support this year. I'll be back again next week, obviously, but just before, if you don't, happen to be listening next week, and you are today, thank you for your support here at Rhema. Thank you for just getting behind everything that happens. Thank you for your financial contributions this year. It's been huge. Honestly, it's been just an absolute blessing. Thank you for those words of affirmation, those encouragement, the prayers that you have poured on. I, for myself, I have believed in what Rhema CC is and has been doing for a long time. I think there is so much potential, and God is really blessing what is happening here. I'm so thankful for that. And I'm thankful for the support that you guys have offered in doing that. It's, I think I kind of just fell into just being here. It just was one of those things that just sort of evolved. It just happened. But I believe in the ministry of radio. I believe especially in the ministry of Christian radio. And I believe in the power of speaking hope and life and ultimately love into people who need to hear it. Now, we as Christians, we need the same thing. We need those words of affirmation and that sort of nudge, come on, let's keep going. You've got this, I've got your back. God's got you. Stay on track. We need that from time to time. But more than that, it is those of you who might be listening this morning who don't know God's love yet. You are the reason that we serve. You are the reason that we are here, because, my goodness, what a gift it is to be able to just pass on the truth that you have a God who loves you. And he does. He loves you so deeply, so, so deeply. And my hope and prayer for you this Christmas is that you will receive the greatest gift ever, that you will ask him to be a part of your life, that you will recognize that Jesus was indeed this beautiful baby who was born into the world. He was perfect. He didn't mess up like you and I. He kept it as clean and as pure and as perfect as can be possible. There was no messy stuff. He certainly got involved with messy people, but he himself made choices that we probably wouldn't, because hey, we are different. We're a different species altogether. We're human, obviously, but we're not God. We experience God, we feel God, we love God, and we experience him fully, but he was the real deal. He was God. And so my prayer is that you will experience him this Christmas. It is the greatest gift you can receive. And all it takes is you just spending some time with him. So I pray this over you. I pray you can feel him. You can experience the Holy Spirit wholly, that you can open a Bible, that you're given an opportunity to read the Bible. If you don't have, if you're not, if there's a limitation in actually physically being able to read, that you can hear through apps, through what happens here at Rhema, you can hear the word of God, because it is so filled with hope. And more than that, guys, it is an example of the ultimate love. It is the ultimate love. So I hope and pray you can experience that fully. I want to say blessings to each of you. Merry and happy and wonderful Christmas. Wishes your way. I'm sending them, blowing loves and kisses and all sorts of things out from this microphone right now. And I just wanted to say thank you again and have a super duper Christmas. Spread the love as much as you can. All right, I will see you as we get closer to 2025. I'll be back next week, guys, and take care. Take care of the people in your life, and who you love. All right, see you then.